Her voice still echoes in my mind when I close my eyes. Laura, the girl who outran legends, and I, Alex, the fool who followed her into the dark before realizing I was stepping into a myth older than mountains. We were already running when the story begins. Breath sharp, feet slipping on wet stone, the canyon walls around us glowing with that strange blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Laura darted ahead, clutching the bronze shard we had stolen from the shrine. I remember how the shard hummed in her hand, as if recognizing her in a way it never recognized me. Alex, keep moving, she shouted, and her voice nearly drowned under the thunderous roar behind us. The ground trembled. Dust rained from above. Something ancient was waking. We should never have touched the shard. In every carving we'd found on the cliffside, the warning was clear. The shard of Orith awakens the guardian buried beneath the world. But Laura had looked at me with that fire in her eyes, the fire that once made me believe nothing could touch her. And she said one sentence that doomed us both. If we don't take it, someone worse will. We reached the lead. Narrow, sharp, deadly. And the roar rose again, this time carrying a shape with it. A shadow crawled out of the canyon's throat, stretching upward like a long-forgotten god made of stone and storm. Its eyes were molten gold, and every blink shook the air. Laura turned to face it. She didn't run. She never ran from anything except sleep. Alex, she whispered. It knows me. She wasn't afraid. I was terrified for both of us. The creature stepped forward, each movement grinding the rock beneath its massive limbs. It lowered its head until those blazing eyes aligned with Laura's. The shard vibrated in her grip, then lifted itself from her palm as if pulled by invisible strings, hanging between her and the guardian. My mind screamed, but my feet were rooted to the stone because I understood something in that moment. The guardian wasn't after the shard. The wind spiraled. It wanted her, roaring around us like a cyclone across her face as the floating shard began to split. One fracture, then another, like it was hatching. Light poured out of the cracks, brighter and brighter until it burned white. Laura tried to shout something. I still don't know what, but the sound dissolved in the explosion of light that followed. The canyon rattled like the earth itself was tearing open. I threw my arm up to shield my eyes. Laura was gone, and the guardian. The guardian turned its burning eyes on me. It stepped closer, lowering its stone jaws. I could feel the heat radiating from its breath, smell the ancient dust of its awakening. My legs finally obeyed me, and I stumbled back, gripping the cliff wall. Where is she? I shouted, though I didn't expect an answer. Not from a creature older than language, but it answered. Its voice wasn't a voice. It was an earthquake stitched into sound. It rumbled through my bones until I felt like I might shatter. Chosen does not fall. Chosen becomes. Then it raised one massive arm and pointed to the path behind me. An opening in the rock that hadn't been there moments before. More urgent, like a heartbeat racing. A tunnel glowed with the same blue light that had guided us earlier, but now it pulsed faster. I understood. It wanted me to follow. Whatever had happened to Laura, she was alive, or something close to it, and the guardian wanted me to witness what she was becoming. I ran into the tunnel. I didn't look back, not because I was brave, but because I was afraid that if I did, the guardian might tell me more truths I wasn't ready to hear. The deeper I went, the more the blue light intensified, turning the stone walls smooth, almost glass-like. Symbols rippled across them, shifting and dancing, forming words in a language I somehow understood. The chosen ascends. The witness follows. Witness, that was me. The tunnel opened into a cavern so vast it felt like standing inside the chest of the world. And at the center, floating above an ancient altar, was Laura. Her body suspended in the air, her eyes closed, that same blinding light swirling around her as if rewriting every part of who she was. The bronze shards, now fully broken, orbited her like fragments of a fallen star. Laura! I shouted, my voice cracking. Her eyes snapped open, but they weren't her eyes anymore. They glowed with the same molten gold as the guardian's, and she whispered my name. Not as Laura, not as the girl I love, but as something reborn. Alex, it's begun. Her voice didn't echo. It vibrated, like the cavern itself was listening. Alex, it's begun. The air thickened around me, warm and electric, humming with the same golden energy swirling around her suspended form. I took a step forward, but the ground pulsed beneath my feet, warning me as if the cavern were alive. Just look at me. Laura, look at me, I said, trying to find the girl I knew behind those molten eyes. For a moment, they softened. Just a moment. Then a sound like cracking mountains roared through the chamber. The guardian, its massive stone frame squeezing through the tunnel, entered behind me. I felt its presence before I saw it. Force so ancient it made my skin crawl. Bowed, not to me, to her. Ascendant, it rumbled. Your awakening nears completion. Laura floated higher, the golden energy tightening around her like armor being forged by light. No, you're not taking her, I snapped. I didn't care how big the thing was. I moved between Laura and the guardian like an idiot with a death wish. You said she'd become something. Not this. Not whatever you're doing. The guardian lowered its head, molten eyes glowing hotter. She is chosen by the shard. She becomes what the world has forgotten to fear. Fear? That word stabbed through me. Laura's voice broke the tension. Alex, she whispered, I can feel everything. Every heartbeat in this mountain, every river under the ground, every ancient thing waking up. It's overwhelming. I reached toward her, even as the energy around her stung my skin. Fight it! Laura, just hold on. Her face twisted. Pain, light, power, until her voice shattered into a cry that made the cavern shudder. The shards orbiting her flared, then shot upward, embedding themselves in the cavern ceiling like stars nailed into stone. She dropped, not to the ground, into my arms. Her weight hit me hard, but I held her tight, her body shaking with heat that almost burned. She clutched my shirt, gasping. Alex, I saw something. The Guardian stepped closer. Tremors followed each stride. What did you see? I asked. Her voice trembled. A city, buried under the mountains, people made of light, and something else. Something breaking free. Her eyes rolled, then focused sharply on me. There's a second shard, and if someone gets to it before we do, the world will burn. Before I could respond, the cavern rumbled again, this time with a violent crack tearing through the ceiling. Dust rained down. A jagged fissure opened in the wall opposite us, splitting wider and wider. Through the gap, cold air poured in. And voices. Human voices. The Guardian's head snapped up, its molten eyes dimmed with something that looked, shockingly, like fear. They come, it growled. Seekers of the second shard, they bring ruin. Shapes appeared in the new opening, dark silhouettes carrying lanterns that glowed crimson instead of gold. Not explorers, not villagers, hunters. Laura tried to stand, but her knees buckled. I grabbed her, pulling her behind a fallen stone pillar as the first of the intruders stepped into the cavern, tall, cloaked, their lanterns dripping red sparks onto the ground. For a breath, no one moved. Then their leader spoke, his voice cold as carved frost. Find the girl, kill the Guardian. The Ascendant must not complete the awakening. Laura squeezed my arm, her voice barely a breath. Alex, they're here for me. I looked at her shaken, glowing eyes, then at the hunters, then at the towering Guardian bracing itself for battle. And I knew one thing. We were no longer running from an ancient myth. We were running straight into a war between them. And Laura, my Laura, was at the center of it. I grabbed her hand. Then we run. Now. But the cavern exploded into chaos before either of us could take a step.